According to a 2012 survey by the Australian Bureau of Statistics, 1 in 5 people experienced sexual harassment in the workplace that year. It also found that women experienced sexual harassment to a greater extent, with 33% of women surveyed reporting harassment compared to around 9% of men. The Australian Human Rights Commission defines sexual harassment as any unwanted or unwelcome sexual behaviour which makes a person feel offended, humiliated or intimidated, and advises that under the Sex Discrimination Act, businesses should have a sexual harassment policy that is separate from any other workplace conduct policies, and that both defines sexual harassment in the workplace and provides comprehensive advice about how employees can report sexual harassment and access support services. Recently, South Australian Greens Senator Sarah Hanson-Young spoke out about the types of comments made to her during a Senate meeting by Senator David Leyonhjelm. If you don't remember, here's a little recap.
Earlier today, during the motion relating to violence against women, Senator Leyonhjelm yelled an offensive and sexist slur at me across the chamber. After the vote on the motion was complete, I walked over to the senator and confronted him directly. I asked whether I had heard him correctly. He confirmed that he had yelled, "You should stop shagging men, Sarah." Shocked, I told him that he was a creep. His reply was to tell me to off. I informed the Leader of the Greens and he has raised it with both Senator Leyonhjelm and the President. I'm disappointed that the Senator has refused to apologise for this offensive and sexist slur, and I call on him to formally withdraw and apologise directly.
To quickly clarify some key points of the incident, David Leyonhjelm claims that his outcry was in response to Sarah Hanson-Young saying that all men are rapists and that as he was against misandry, he said what he said and he won't be rescinding his comment. But Hanson-Young's alleged statement was not caught on the record. And when questioned, Leyonhjelm said that he didn't exactly remember what she said, but that it was along the lines of men being violent towards women.
Give me the quote from Senator Sarah Hanson-Young where she said any of those things that you just mentioned there, all men are rapists and the like. Where's the quote?
I was there. It wasn't caught on Hansard. I was in the chamber. It was in the context of a great deal of back chat going on.
I understand, Senator, that you actually can't really recall exactly what it was that she said.
I can recall the context. It was in the context of a self-defence motion. It was in the context of a 1-minute statement by Senator Janet Rice to the effect that men are collectively responsible for the violence. And it was Senator Hanson-Young called out words very similar, or if not identical to, if only men would stop raping women, or all men are rapists, or words to that effect.
No, they're not the same thing, but as we've established, and I think you've admitted you don't exactly remember, and she certainly denies saying those things.
But considering that the Senate was debating at the time about weapons laws in relation to the protection of women from gender-based violence, kind of seems like a statement like that would be relevant. Either way, did it give him the right to comment on her sexual life? Probably not, hey. So I had a look into the sexual harassment policy for federal government employees, and there are some pretty big red flags. There is a workplace bullying and harassment policy, but until June 2018, it didn't actually specify sexual harassment as a unique form of bullying, and it's still a bit restrictive in terms of the resources and support services available to employees. In June 2018, Minister for Women Kelly O'Dwyer and Sex Discrimination Commissioner Kate Jenkins announced a year-long inquiry by the Australian Human Rights Commission into the causes of sexual harassment in the workplace and how to improve sexual harassment policies to be more protective of victims. Between $500,000 and $900,000 have been committed by the Australian government for the inquiry, and hopefully the outcome will result in changes both in legislation and in the creation of new awareness initiatives. It was revealed that an online course in sexual harassment, introduced for the education of federal ministers in 2014, was not accessed by even one minister. Not even one. So let's hope this inquiry yields slightly more favourable action.
I think we've reached a point in time where we've realised that lots of effort has been put towards policies and complaints procedures and even sort of online training programs, but it hasn't actually changed the behaviours in the workplace. And Australian employees really don't, by and large, want to be complaining about their co-workers. So I think we need to continue with those policies, and the Human Rights Commission has examples available on their website. But this is the moment to realise that that wasn't enough or hasn't been enough.
But this event made me wonder, how is it that these comments are something that our elected decision makers are getting away with? These comments were made in 2018. They're not decades-old recordings or tweets. They're standard practice in 2018 in our government. If an inquiry into sexual harassment is going to make any progress, our ministers need to step up.